Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles, from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. We'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is offering some huge holiday discounts from now until January 2nd. On select new Chevrolet vehicles, we are offering $8,000 off MSRP or 1.9% financing. Yes, you heard right. That's $8,000 off or 1.9% financing on select new Chevrolets. We also have some huge discounts on our new GMC inventory, so stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. Includes finance, trade, and Costco bonus with roof credit. Stock number C299464.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps can be the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education award while helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
On a Thursday, glad you're along for the ride for the next 2 hours. I'm Austin Norman, live inside the 93.7 Ticket Studios here in Lincoln, 1040 O Street, the address, northwest corner of 11th and O. And of course, we're not alone here. We'd like to thank our friends at The Mill. Really appreciate them for all they do, as well as Beatrice Baking Company. Share that space with those two wonderful companies, wonderful people at them. So if you're in the area, make sure you stop by, say hi to all of us at The Ticket, your favorite personalities, and me, as well as people at Beatrice Baking Company and The Mill. If you want to chime in with anything we're talking about here on the show, you can on the Sartor Heyman Jewelers text line or the Honda of Lincoln hotline. The number's for you, 402-464-5685. We also have streams up and running, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. That's where Erick Strickland will join me here in just a moment. What's coming up on the show today? A lot. Nick and I got into a little bit of Nebraska men's basketball, both the minutia of the game against Minnesota, what went wrong for the Big Red at the barn, but also kind of big picture. What's the state of the program in year 5 under Fred Hoiberg? Where's Nebraska at? What way is Nebraska trending? It was trending up after 7 games, certainly trending down after these last 2 performances by the Huskers. So what is the status of this program? We'll get into that. We'll talk about Michigan offering Jim Harbaugh a contract extension, a big contract extension, a notable contract extension with a stipulation that makes sense for Michigan, given who Jim Harbaugh is and the way that he's operated there in Ann Arbor. We'll talk about that. We'll stay in the state of Michigan, too. Talk some NBA with the Husker Hall of Famer. Who's responsible for Draymond Green being Draymond Green? Is it him? Is it someone else? Some former NBA stars say they're to blame for Draymond Green being who he is. That's what we'll look at in hour 1 of the show. Hour 2 of the show, we'll turn our attention to the transfer portal for Husker football. We know you're inundated with this. Hopefully you're still interested in it, right? Nebraska certainly needs to make additions to the football roster. You see a lot of great building blocks, but there are also certainly great players available in the portal for Nebraska to at least pitch on coming to Lincoln and being part of the next good Nebraska football team. So what positions are those? We'll talk about that. What level should Nebraska get those transfers from? Do they need to target those Power 5 guys that were backups, Power 5 guys looking for a fresh start? Or should they look at the up-and-comers out of the group of 5 or even FCS and JUCO levels, guys that are looking to prove themselves at an upper level of football? Strick and I will get into that. And then I'm excited. We did this on Take It Down Tuesday. We'll do it again on Thirsty Thursday. Welcome in our friends from The Mill as well as Empyrean Brewing here in Lincoln to discuss their new collaboration. It's a fantastic beer called the Coffee and Cream Ale. Nick and I were lucky enough to try it again on Take It Down Tuesday a couple days ago. They're back on Thursday. So in case you missed that conversation, what it is, what it tastes like, we will let you know what it is, where you can get it, when you can get it, all coming up here on the show. Again, 402-464-5685. If you've got any thoughts here, let's dive into the Nebraska men's basketball loss to Minnesota, 76-65. Nebraska loses. The 11-point margin, not ideal, but also Nebraska got absolutely shredded in the second half. The Huskers allow only 24 points in the first half before allowing 52 points in the second half. That's right. Nebraska got doubled up in the second half, 52-26 after leading 39-24. The first 12 minutes or so for both teams was a little sloppy, a little disjointed. Nebraska was in front 19-17 at that U8 timeout in the first half. And then Nebraska really got cooking. The off-ball movement was great. The passing was crisp. The defensive rotations were solid. Jumped some passing lanes, got a couple steals, and boxing out was good. Nebraska played some of the best basketball of its season last night, which is hard to hear. It's weird to say in a game that ends up an 11-point loss on the road when you give up 50-plus points in the second half. But that last 8 minutes of basketball is, I think, what this team is supposed to look like. Bryce Williams really got it going, right? Scored 17 points in the first half, got the shots that he's used to getting that I think he's supposed to be getting for this team and how it's supposed to operate. He got to the rim. He only knocked down 1 3-pointer, but that came in the first half. And overall, Bryce Williams looked like that focal offensive hub for Nebraska, right? Not just ball in his hands, go create your own, but off of movement, getting him an advantage to go to work with. And then from there, it was CJ Wilcher moving off the ball, right? CJ Wilcher has 9 points all in the first half, 3 of 6 from the floor. He does knock down a 3-pointer as well as two free throws. CJ Wilcher, I think that's a great role for him. Essentially what he did in the first half is how CJ Wilcher is going to be used by this team moving forward. So the first, again, 12 minutes, not great. The last 8 of the first half were really good. But then we have to talk about the second half. Just how quickly the wheels fell off. I don't even know if they fell off. I don't even know if that's the right way to phrase what happened is the wheels fell off. The wheels just completely disintegrated is really what it felt like happened for Nebraska. As we welcome in the Husker Hall of Famer, Erick Strickland here. Not really the Allo VIP line because Stricky is on stream. Stricky, how you doing? Safe travels? You good and settled?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, I think we're good.
Good and settled. I don't know what's going on. The Wi-Fi is acting up, so hopefully I'll get a good, by my hotspot. Hopefully that'll work. But you were talking about the basketball game last night, yeah?
Yes, we were. And specifically the second half and how things disintegrated for Nebraska. You mentioned that one of the big focuses for Nebraska, as stated by the head coach, but also just from your own observations, had to be the physical nature that Nebraska had to step up, especially on rebounding, but even with the screening on offense to get guys open. The last 8 minutes of the first half, Nebraska was excellent, extended that from a 2-point lead to ultimately a 17-point lead before Minnesota got the last 2 points of the first half. But then, Strick, it all fell apart rapidly in the second half. And I think the biggest story was Dawson Garcia going out for Minnesota. He didn't play with that rolled ankle, but I think that benefited Minnesota. I think Nebraska had good defensive matchups on Dawson Garcia. They started with Josiah Alec on him. If it needed to be rink masked, I think that's okay for Nebraska. And Nebraska could take advantage of Dawson Garcia on the other end of the court, but Nebraska had no answer for the athleticism, the size, the speed, and ultimately the aggression of both Farrell Payne and Joshua Ola Joseph, who did the same thing to Nebraska last year.
Yeah, that was definitely the case last year, and we saw it again this year. It was like an instant replay of what transpired last year. You hate it that you can get out to that lead. Those are hard to do on the road, and yet you had a 15-point lead going into half, and see what happens. Sometimes you get in there and you start getting comfortable, and you start smelling yourself a little bit, and the next thing you know, you come out and the team comes out with way more energy, way more fire, way more heart than you do. And we saw also last night the importance for this Nebraska team at the point guard position. A lot of turnovers, 18 to be exact, 7 out of Jamarcus Lawrence with only 1 assist. And that's just a recipe for disaster, especially when you really don't have another ball handler to be able to take over and fill some of that void. You would hope like Boogie Coleman would be someone to do that. Didn't play much this game, probably didn't fit him with the athleticism that was out there against this Minnesota team. And so your guys didn't come up and raise the bar. Obviously, that's Tamanaga, Mast, who had been pretty consistent. Only 5 rebounds out of Mast, as well as only 5 rebounds, shot 2 for 7, didn't have a really good night there. Didn't get that production out of anyone else outside of Bryce, who was pretty much consistent there. And, some from Jawan Gary as well. But other than that, there was just not much to show for it.
There really wasn't. And I mean, those 7 turnovers from Jamarcus Lawrence, obviously a downer. He did at least score the basketball pretty well for the first time all year, but you don't want the scoring when it comes with 7 turnovers. 2 or 3 or 4, maybe you can handle, but 7, and a lot of them live ball, isn't good. Bryce Williams had 4 turnovers as well. Again, just lazy passes, kind of losing focus with the defender in his face, got his pocket picked. But Strick, I want to focus on that athleticism that you bring up. Minnesota had more of it than Nebraska across the board, but we kind of knew that going in, that Nebraska wasn't the most athletic team in the post or on the perimeter. What do you have to do then if you're Nebraska to counter athleticism? Is it positioning? Is it communication? Is it effort? How do you get away with being less athletic than your opponents?
Just take the recipe of what Princeton used to be. You used to watch Princeton very often, and Princeton would beat teams like that by way of being fundamentally sound in every aspect of the game, taking care of the ball, making you make the mistakes, wearing you down mentally, because understanding that the clock was to your advantage because of the fact that you knew you were going to get a good shot. You were going to wait until you got a good shot, and you were going to frustrate the other team until they just gave way and didn't want it anymore. So that's how Princeton used to beat people with that type of success. And when you don't have that, you have to do all of those fundamental things to enable you to be able to pull out and win games, especially on the road. And that goes back to what we talked about with setting screens, presenting yourself and defending and rebounding and, like you're saying, being physical and winning the loose ball battles. All of those things you have to do in order to have some success. If they don't do that, it's going to be a long year going forward.
Question from the text line here, Strick. We have John in Southeast Lincoln asking about Nebraska basketball. He says, Coach Rule talks about spending big money for a quarterback. Do you think that Coach Hoiberg would spend $1 million for a point guard? I see the rationale. I see the reasoning. It's not like Fred Hoiberg didn't try to address that, right? He's trying to grow Jamarcus Lawrence into that. He goes out and he gets Aaron Eulis out of the transfer portal. It hasn't worked out given the gambling suspension, and I'm not sold on Aaron Eulis as an option, but he's at least played point guard in the Big Ten. And Boogie Coleman has been a ball handler in the MAC mostly, but also in the SEC. But I also think in Fred Hoiberg's system, you don't need a stud point guard, right? Imani Morris at Iowa State was so good because he just didn't make mistakes, right? It's that caretaker type of guy who doesn't turn the ball over, who gets a team into its sets, and who knocks down open threes. Nebraska shouldn't have to spend big money for a guy that can do that.
Yeah, I mean, Hogard is not any. Hogard is the typical Michigan State type of point guard in that they don't have to be absolutely successful and great. You can have a good combination. That back in my day, they had Eric Snow, who wasn't your typical stud, just go get buckets type of guy. He could get buckets. He was physically strong. He could defend his tail off. But then they had Sean Respert, who was his complementary player with him, who was their shooter, who was their scorer, who would do a lot of those things. And I think that's where Eric benefited the most, is that he always had the ability to take on the responsibilities to defend guys that Sean Respert couldn't, in the same light that he did with Allen Iverson. Those combinations worked good. So you just really need somebody who is a staunch defender, somebody who can make sure that your team is getting into the right stuff, executing the plays, and just taking care of the ball. You don't need anybody that's going to just be like Alonzo Verge for this team was not too long ago, right? Not that he was a point guard, but you understand what I'm saying. Don't have to be that guy that has to go out and get it. You want a guy that's capable. I would like a guy like Nembhard, to be honest, like what Creighton had. Nembhard was the perfect prototypical guy for what Nebraska could use as far as to have success on their team.
What about even like a Glenn Watson Jr. type of guy?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. This team is starting to show some weaknesses and some holes in some areas of their game. But Fred tried to address it, but you can't get guys to you can't force guys to do something. You have to just present it to them and show them what the right way and the right recipe is. And what scares me is that this looks very much like Nebraska football right now. Had some look good in some ways against competition that not necessarily was at the height of what they're going to see going into Big Ten play. But they lose their first. And we talked about this like deja vu thing going on with football and basketball. And now they lose their first game to Minnesota. And guess where? On the road.
In Minnesota.
So I don't know what's going to happen or transpire out of it, but it's not a good look right now, and it doesn't get any easier going forward.
That it doesn't. Michigan State on Sunday, Kansas State in a week from that. But Strick, you mentioned that Nebraska is showing some weaknesses, right? Not the first power conference teams they've played. They mopped the floor with Oregon State up in Sioux Falls, but Creighton exposed some flaws. Minnesota, I think, exposed some different flaws, but you can point to what both of those teams did well, right? Creighton's a ball movement and shooting team. They do that exceptionally well. They hang their hat on it. Minnesota, still finding its way as a program, but its strength against Nebraska was inside with the athleticism and the physical rebounding. They exploited that on the offensive end to get points, and they funneled Nebraska into shot blockers, right? Minnesota did that well. What is it about this Nebraska team that Fred Hoiberg can hang his team's hat on, right? What does this team do so well that they can rely on? Right now, I'm not seeing anything, and not having an identity or knowing what Nebraska does well is going to make game to game difficult.
Well, what I thought they did well was their passing. I mean, they had a great passing night as far as assist numbers. It's back up in that 15 range. But here's the issue. You thought this team would be a way better shooting team than they had, because they do have better shooters. Rake Mass is one who can stretch the floor and can shoot it. Jamarcus Lawrence is very capable, as you saw. This is more like what I'd hope for him to be, 3 for 5 from 3. Tamanaga just did not have anything going. Bryce's career definitely upper 30s in his career, and shot his last year was at 40-something% before he came to Nebraska. And Juwan Gary's capable. Sam Hoiberg can do it, just didn't play much. C.J. Wilcher was 1 for 2, just didn't really play much. I don't know if it was a good fit for him. Those are the things that you'd hope out of them. But once again, they shoot a dismal under 30% from 3. I mean, it's not that they're not getting good looks. I think that they're getting good looks. They're not shooting as many 4 shots as they've shot in the past. And you know, you'd think shooting over 80% on the road would get you there, especially with a team that shot 62%. But you just don't do enough. You don't do enough, especially when you're turning the ball over 18 times, and they're very costly because you know they score over 20 points off of turnovers. That's tough to overcome.
Minnesota scores 24 points off of 18 turnovers and 14 points off of 13 offensive rebounds. That's 38 points on possessions Minnesota arguably shouldn't have had. If you cut both those numbers in half, it's still maybe a little high and more than you want to give up, but acceptable. Like Nebraska did okay, right? 8 second chance points, not elite, but that's fine for a not great rebounding team. And Nebraska even managed to score 21 points off of Minnesota's 16 turnovers. So if you cut your own down and take care of business that way, you're fine. Strick, to finish out this segment, we've gotten a lot of questions, both from post-game last night through the happy 2 hours with Nick that we just did. I want to throw this out to you. Keisei Tominaga, we've talked a little bit about how Nebraska can use him, but Minnesota kind of face guarded him. They made his life tough last night, gave him some different defensive looks. Is Keisei Tominaga a viable option for Nebraska's best scorer, or is he best relegated to a spot-up shooter role that occasionally gives you something more? Have Big Ten teams kind of caught on to how to scheme against him?
I think with that offense that they run, I think they got, and I talked about that last year, I think they've got to get into more sets. You know, that offense per se is going to create ways in which, you know, you kind of, it's not much with many counters. It's very basic. It gets to a side, it works, and then tries to work on a very high perimeter basis from the free throw line extended. So they don't get much action that can give somebody, like we showed on Talk Tape Tuesday. They don't have many actions that can kind of throw your eyes off. And it's the same thing I talked about with the football team, in that counters or misdirection stuff, they don't have a lot of that. And so it's very basic. It's easy to guard. It's a lot of DHOs, dribble handoff action. So I think they need to let him handle the ball more. But, you know, I don't know who am I? I think they need to figure out a way to just get him into situations in sets that allows action to get him to handle the ball. You know, similar to what they used to do with Allen Iverson, right? Because teams used to try to do the same thing with Allen Iverson, just certain sets that you could run that will allow the action to really be focused on him. And your counters is, if you overhelp one way or the other, then you've got guys on slips and backdoors and alley-oops and just different things like that. But if you're going to use him as your primary option, if guys are going to do that type of stuff, that's what you're going to have to do. Or you're going to have to get him the ball and put him and let him be a distributor. Otherwise, you don't really have much.
To answer the question, you are Erick Strickland, Husker Hall of Famer, 9-year NBA vet, Big 8 Rookie of the Year. With us on stream, I'm Austin Norman back in the 93.7 The Ticket studios, trying to watch Nebraska volleyball put the finishing touches on a sweep of Georgia Tech. It's 20-19 Huskers late in set 3. Huskers won the first 2. When we get back, Michigan has made Jim Harbaugh, or is working on making Jim Harbaugh, a contract extension. What would that mean for him? What would that mean for the Wolverines? What kind of message does that send? We'll get into that and plenty more as we continue hour 1 of On the Block here, 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Southern Pecan Cake from Beatrice Bakery. They don't just let you call anything Southern, especially when it's baked right here in Nebraska. But there are standards you have to meet, like a rich, decadent, moist caramel cake? Check. Bursting with too many large pecans to count? Check. Big enough to share with the whole group? Check. But delicious enough that you won't want to share? A big check on that one. The Southern Pecan Cake, the newest cake to the Beatrice Bakery lineup. Try it for yourself at Beatrice Bakery. Online at BeatriceBakery.com. Welcome to our world of yum.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today, with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
Getting experience to jumpstart a meaningful career can be difficult, and education can cost a fortune. Luckily, AmeriCorps can be the solution. With AmeriCorps, you'll earn a stipend and education award while helping people. Plus, you'll gain professional skills and make connections to help you build your career. If you're ready to start a career you can be proud of, visit serve.nebraska.gov/service to find a program for you. Paid for by Serve Nebraska, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
At Union Bank, people don't have your money. Your money has people. First home people, investment people, people who answer the phone and your chats, dream car people, dream retirement people, driving your dream car in your dream retirement people, small business people, credit card people, and all the other people you need. At Union Bank, our people help you do more than you dreamed possible. So stop in and say hello. We can't wait to see you. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Today's agenda includes office meetings this morning, followed by a client lunch, then back to the office for another meeting, and ending the day with a presentation at a client's office. When you are on the go, you need an office phone that goes with you. At Hamilton, our business phone systems make it easy to sync your office phone features to your cell phone for quick and seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you need better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
When it comes to tackling your fall projects, having the right equipment can make a huge difference. At Sunbelt Rentals, they have an extensive line of tools and equipment to help complete any job. From lawn and landscape equipment to hand tools, pressure washers, portable generators for you tailgaters, and much more. Sunbelt Rentals makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Drop in to see the experts at 5450 Alvo Road in Lincoln, or visit sunbeltrentals.com today to learn how Sunbelt Rentals can make it happen for you.
School taught you all about the 4 seasons: spring, summer, and so on. And then there's the way we really tell what time of year it is in sports seasons: football season, baseball season, or off season. But what's the chocolate season? Well, it's now. And now, and now, and always. Whether you're looking for a caffeinated pick-me-up on the way to work, a little snack on the way home, or you need the perfect gift that's sure to be appreciated, it's time for the chocolate season. 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead at thechocolateseason.com.
There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals, and get your lift with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
What if that happened to Nebraska? What do you think would be going on right now? If somehow, some way, miraculously, Matt Rule and company went undefeated, and because we lost our starting quarterback, you forgot about the entire 100 and how many ever guys, as if it only took the quarterback to get Florida State undefeated. NCAA, make it make sense. Committee, make it make sense. There's no rhyme or reason to your selection.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back. Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you here. Nebraska volleyball did just put those finishing touches on the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, 25-21 in the third. Nebraska volleyball sweeps its way to its 11th Elite Eight appearance in the last 12 years. Nebraska now awaits the winner of Kentucky and Arkansas. Big congrats to Nebraska volleyball. Make sure you're following our own Rico on Twitter at Radio Rico AC for all the updates. Strick, let's turn our attention, though, to college football. Specifically to the state of Michigan. We spent a lot of time talking about Michigan, again, 3-time defending Big Ten champions now. But a new development out of Ann Arbor today is that Michigan is working on a contract extension to offer Jim Harbaugh. This extension would be for 5 years, take him through the 2028 season, be worth $11 million per year, which would make him the highest paid coach in the Big Ten. Second highest paid coach nationally behind only Nick Saban at Alabama. But with the one stipulation that they would need it in writing from Jim Harbaugh that he does not pursue an NFL head coaching job this coaching cycle. Let's start with the optics of this. Michigan offering Harbaugh an extension. I'm not shocked that they would do this. They've stood behind him at every turn through the sign stealing investigation. They've maintained his innocence, as has he. To the rest of college football, though, this looks like a big old middle finger to the Big Ten and the NCAA. Like, yeah, we cheated, or we assume they cheated, but we won't tell you that we cheated. So we're going to offer our successful coach a contract extension regardless of what you think about him.
Yeah, that's what it looks like right now. Definitely a caveat. It's something that he's going to have to weigh out. I think it's going to ultimately come down to whether or not he feels there's anything else that's going to come from it, right? Sometimes when you do what you're talking about, sticking a middle finger to powers that be, Big Ten, NCAA, whatever committees or whatever the case may be, investigating bodies. Sometimes when you feel like that, it can come back to haunt you, because then they just do sometimes more investigation. They look deeper. They start looking at other stuff. I still think there's some other things that may come out. And ultimately, this is probably why they're making the decision. This is probably why they're saying we're sticking by our guy. They're making a big commitment to him. But at the end of the day, Harbaugh is going to have to make a decision as he's doing his own internal investigation on what's going on with his program, whether he knows it. If he doesn't know it, trying to find out what else is going on, so that if he does decide to make this commitment, it's not going to come back to bite him. You don't ever want to make this type of commitment, and it's not going to look well for you if you get some type of death penalty or you get some heavy penalties that come on you, because it's only going to hurt you, and then your stock goes down because you can't leave. So now all of a sudden it's a miserable time, especially at the age that Harbaugh is right now. So it could be a miserable 5 years if there are other things, other implications, or other investigations that are looming out there that could be a problem for him.
Because if you're Jim Harbaugh, you don't want to write into a contract that you'll just forfeit any remaining money for being fired with cause. But if you're Michigan, you don't want to say, we'll give you too high a percentage of this if it does turn out, according to the NCAA, that you were involved in this beyond what we believe you to be. And then the NFL aspect of it, too. The NFL is such an easy out for Jim Harbaugh. The NFL is not going to suspend Jim Harbaugh for something he did or didn't do in college. Like, it's a get out of jail free card essentially for him. So I wouldn't be shocked if Jim Harbaugh went that route. I still think that's most likely, that even if he doesn't think he did anything wrong, if he senses that NCAA, infractions committees are going to come down on him in Michigan, he just says, deuces, I'm out. I did what I came here to do. Hopefully for him, it ends with a national title. I doubt anything would be, agreed to until after the national championship game, because he'll want some time to weigh his options. But we might just be about to see just how much Michigan does mean to Jim Harbaugh. Being a Michigan man, having played there in college, you would think there's that big pull back to the alma mater that, yeah, I'll stick through it through thick and thin. But at the same time, Jim Harbaugh's taken NFL overtures these last couple years, and it doesn't seem like he's afraid to use his alma mater as leverage.
Oh, there's no question. And why would you not? If you have the ability to do that and have leverage or to move out, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll just give you a brief, analogy was what I'm looking for, right? When I was in my contract, it had just ended. I'm in the free agent market. It actually worked better for me than probably being a second round draft pick. So going undrafted worked better for me at the end of the day, because it gave me my bird rights quicker, and it gave me the ability to make more money than any second round pick could have made in 1 year. So I end up trying to negotiate, and of course they're lowballing me, right? They're thinking, well, yeah, we like him, but we're not going to negotiate against ourselves. At the end of the day, we're not going to overextend and put ourselves out there for what? So the number was kind of low. And so what I did was I said, okay, we're going to bet on myself a little bit, similar to what Miles Bridges and guys like that did. You got to bet on yourself at some instance. So I go into Summer League and play very well, averaged like 26 points that Summer League. Kobe and I actually we actually went nuts that Summer League. I played 2 games, averaged like 26 points, and didn't play anymore. I'm like, I'm good. And I went to Denver, shout out to the Rockies, and worked out for them. Not really looking to go and play for Denver, but just using it as leverage because they actually liked me. So it was one of those things where I was just going to go in and give them an idea that I might bounce. And it worked in my favor because the number ended up coming up. Flew back down to LA, back to the Summer League, met with Don Nelson with my agent, played golf actually. And then all of a sudden, Don and my agent said, all right, I think we played maybe 7-8 holes. And then Don and my agent was like, all right, get in the other cart. We're going to have a talk. I said, okay, cool. And that's how the negotiation ended up going down. It was actually negotiated on a golf course. That's why I tell people, listen, learn to play golf, man. There's a lot of deals that can be made on a golf course. Mine actually was made on a golf course.
Jim Harbaugh does seem like he would be a golf guy. I mean, he has the khakis and everything. I think he could transition very easily to a golf pants guy. If you had to predict, do you think Jim Harbaugh signs an extension with Michigan, or do you think he jumps to the NFL?
I personally think he may bounce, and I think he may use the Michigan situation now that it's been put out. It's out there. He's going to use the Michigan situation to parlay himself probably into a better situation in the NFL. What you're looking at, what, the Panthers maybe? I think the Panthers are a team that's and that's 2 teams with players, one that he would be familiar with and would have respect for him coming in as the coach, and having the same type of experience to be able to have those type of conversations. I'm sure that would bode well for them. And Carolina as well is a team that's on the hunt. I mean, Carolina's been doggone. They've been getting more coaches like the wind changes every freaking day in Nebraska. You know what I mean? So that's something. I don't know if I'd want that instability if I was Harbaugh. If I'm him, I'm maybe looking at Chicago. Here's why. I think you got I think you got something in CJ Stroud that's pretty solid at the quarterback position. I think you've got some pieces that you can build off of there. You're also going to be looking at a new stadium and a new build out there, and there's a lot of good upside if you're looking at Chicago. Outside of, I'm not very fond of Chicago, to be honest. But other than that, yeah.
And again, he has ties back there, given his ties with the Bears. Decent young talent, a high draft pick or two coming this year, so he could really put his fingerprints on that roster. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I've always been on board either Harbaugh doesn't survive this or Harbaugh chooses to bounce as a survival sort of mechanism in college football. But Strick, I want to throw this out to you too as we tie it back to Michigan to round out this segment. As you look at this college football playoff with Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama, given the recent fields in this year's field, do you think this is a strong college football playoff, a kind of middle of the road, or a weaker group of 4 teams?
Oh no, I actually think there's great parity here. I think this is college football. This is not like coming into this and you're looking at like a juggernaut like Georgia, where you're like, wait a minute, anybody that got a shot at them outside of Ohio State, that brought electric to the college football. The fact that Ohio State was on the verge of clipping them, like a lot of people didn't think that. I think this one is underdog season. When you look at it, it's very possible that you could have a 4 or even the 3 could come out of this and win. Like I think it's up in the air. I think Vegas is going to have trouble trying to figure out how the unders and the weight scale, however they do it. I'm not a big gambler, but however they work that out, it's going to be tough. It's a lot of parity right now, and I think it's a lot of uncertainty as to who's going to be the one that's dominating. I don't even think you can rest assured on a hot team right now. Like you can't look at Texas and just say, man, Texas is hot right now, and think that they're actually going to pull it off, because then all of a sudden Washington will freak around and do something to you that would surprise you. No one thought Washington could be Oregon at that point. So I think there's a lot of opportunities for those 3 and 4 teams to get in and do some damage.
I had that exact same thought about the parity that you did. And so I posed the question to Bill Connolly of ESPN. He has the SP Plus numbers that we refer to during the season as well. And Strick, what if I told you that Michigan this year rates better than Georgia did either the last 2 years?
That's dope. I think if they can pull this off, my issue is if Michigan's able to pull this off, Austin, and win a natty, it's going to be interesting to see what the powers that be do. How the investigation. There's a big old rug over there. There's a broom, and how much sweeping happens to that rug, gets closer to that rug over there. I'm interested to see kind of how that goes down, right? Because we've seen it happen before. We've seen teams that are on the verge of some allegations or some stories out there, and some things happen, and the next thing you know, they kind of just dissipate after a little while. Oh yeah, there was an investigation, but there's not much that really came out of it. So we just kind of silently. And we're in the Christmas season, so silent night. It kind of melodies away. We'll see.
That's funny. So yeah, Michigan being rated higher than Georgia either the last 2 years relative to the competition kind of surprised me. They're the best number 1 seed since Alabama in 2020. Now this 4th seeded Alabama team also rates higher than any of the 4 seeds we've had in the last few years, higher than Cincinnati, of course, was one of them, higher than Ohio State was last year even. But the 2 and the 3 seeds are comparatively weak. The last couple of years, the 2 and the 3s have been, you've had Michigan in that conversation. TCU was maybe a little bit lower there, but the 1 and the 4 are stronger than they've been recently. The 2 and the 3 are weaker than they've been in the last few years, which, to your point about the Vegas odds, might play into it because Michigan has the best title odds, followed by Bama, who's the number 4. Texas is slightly ahead of Washington in the betting odds, but behind them in SP+. But it's your 2 seed in Washington that has the worst national title odds. That speaks to me extremely to your point of parity. Each of these teams is good in their own way and has a strength, but each of these teams has a weakness that their opponent can go after.
That's a fact. And when I look at Washington, I think there's some balance, but we know that Odunze, we know that he's like the Marvin Harrison Jr. for Washington, right? Mm-hmm. We know what Michael Penix is capable of. I don't think Michael Penix's feet is like a Jaden Daniels or nothing like that, where you're just going to be absolutely horrified if you're trying to drop back into zones and different things like that, where you always have to spy him out. I don't think his legs are like that. Mm-hmm. So I think there's ways to scheme them up a little bit, but they've just been so resilient and fiery, and they just don't give up or give in, and they just continue to plug away. Defense isn't like dominating by any means or any stretch of the imagination. They're just, they're pretty solid. They just do a lot of solid things. They're not going to hurt themselves usually. They're not going to just let you blow the doors open with a whole bunch of big plays. So when I look at them now, Texas, to me, looks like they have the potential to be scary. I think they have great wide receiver depth. There's a lot of different guys that can hurt you in their wide receiver core. Obviously with, yours going nuts over 400 yards in his last game in the championship. That's a phenomenal feat to do. But, also the competition was not the same. I don't have no belief in what that was going to turn out to be. But Michigan has great defense, and they're going to run it down, run it down your throat. And they're just going to just continue to just beat you up and pound you and do all of those things. And so it's hard to say how it's going to, it's just unfortunate that the best matchup in this whole thing right now is going to be 1-4. And Michigan's probably, they're not probably scared, but they're shaking in their boots at that matchup. I'm sure they would have loved to have had a different matchup, even Florida State for them.
Oh, right. I mean, they've got to keep their stiff upper lip. You can't show any fear to Alabama, who's been in this situation before with, a top 5 head football coach of all time at the college ranks. Let's keep it in the state of Michigan to round out our one of On the Block, but we'll turn it over to the NBA. Had some interesting comments from a former Detroit Piston on Draymond Green. We'll get Strick's thoughts on that and more as we wrap up our one of On the Block, brought to you, of course, proudly by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul.
Hi, everyone. Kendall Warnock with A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. If you're looking for an automotive repair facility you can genuinely trust, we would be grateful for the opportunity to earn your business repairing your vehicle. We have ASE master technicians and qualified to work on a variety of vehicles from Hondas to Porsches, Jaguars to Toyotas, and Chevrolets to Fords. We pride ourselves on customer service and relationships, and we would be grateful for the opportunity to serve you. Give us a call at 402-477-4660. A1 Automotive. Always honest answers.
It's 3 games for the price of 2. Don't miss a Western Conference Finals rematch between the Lincoln Stars and the Fargo Force, December 8th through 10th at the Icebox. You can purchase a December weekend package now to lock in your seats for all 3 games while only paying for the value of 2 of them. Skate on down to the Icebox or head to LincolnStars.com to purchase your tickets today.
When it comes to tackling your fall projects, having the right equipment can make a huge difference. At Sunbelt Rentals, they have an extensive line of tools and equipment to help complete any job. From lawn and landscape equipment to hand tools, pressure washers, portable generators for you tailgaters, and much more. Sunbelt Rentals makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Drop in to see the experts at 5450 Alvo Road in Lincoln, or visit sunbeltrentals.com today to learn how Sunbelt Rentals can make it happen for you.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Nutrition Authority invites you to try Anarchy, which is an exciting free workout for athletes and fitness enthusiasts who want the most out of their workout. Anarchy can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Remember, when you want results, the solution is simple. Nutrition Authority. Stop in, call, or check us out at mynutritionauthority.com. There's only one place this holiday season to shop for the sports fan in your life and get cash back for slightly used sports items you don't need anymore. Play It Again Sports. Check out their selection of new and used items, including home fitness equipment like treadmills, exercise bikes, and ellipticals. And get your lift with free weights, benches, and racks to add to your home gym. And don't forget, if you have anything slightly used to trade in, they'll give you instant cash. Holiday shopping starts and ends at Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Integrated Life Choices has been inspiring opportunities for individuals with disabilities for more than 15 years in Lincoln and across Nebraska by offering a number of services. From group homes to independent living resources and job training, you'll find the support that allows people to live fulfilling lives. They're also hiring. If you're looking for a rewarding career supporting people with developmental disabilities, you can check out open positions along with learning more about services at ilc.net. Integrated Life Choices.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197. At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Erick Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
It is not taking place. Sorry, Stricky. Forgot to replace the open. We will either play tomorrow with Nick or Rico, whoever's in, or if Stricky's back in the building, we'll play. If not, we will find a time and a place to give away those $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings, who does normally sponsor the Shootout with Strick Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2:45, but again, not today. Again, big shout out to Husker Volleyball. They sweep Georgia Tech. They are on to the Elite Eight, awaiting the winner of Arkansas and Kentucky. But Strick, let's go to the NBA here briefly. On Gilbert Arenas' podcast, he had Rasheed Wallace on, Agent Zero did, and Rasheed Wallace essentially said, Draymond Green is our fault. Draymond grew up in that 2004 Pistons locker room. One of Draymond's best friends was the GM at the time, his son. So Draymond was around us, and that's why he's doing a lot of the stuff he's doing now, because he learned it from that 2004 Pistons group. Number one, is that fair to say? And number two, could Draymond Green hang in that 2004 Pistons locker room?
I think Draymond's style fit. I mean, obviously one of the greater defenders of all time, and Ben Wallace was there. Similar type of player. I think an additional player like him could have fit in that locker room. Now, I think the changes of the rules have been very beneficial for Draymond Green, meaning you can bring smoke, but not a lot of smoke is going to get thrown at you, because everybody is buddy and friend, and there's not a lot of as much animosity as it was if I don't like you, or the rivalries, and I don't mess with you outside of the court. There's not a lot of people outside of seeing them on the court, or saying with friendly gestures or whatever the case may be. But I can't say there was a lot of guys on opposite teams outside of ones that maybe I played with at some time before that I was cool with, or we was friends with. If we maybe saw each other at an all-star game, you would have been, okay with, because it's a fraternal type of thing. But Draymond, I think, benefits very well from that. I think there are a lot of guys that would have tested his mettle if he would, act in the way that he's acting. There's some guys that is willing and able to throw some fisticuffs if you want to get, big and bad.
The outside impression I have of Draymond is that he's more about that life than most guys, but maybe not the most about that life like some of those guys in that Pistons locker room were.
I mean, he's the reason why it comes across as inauthentic is because he's a LeBron man fan.
Sure.
And especially when you're rivals, and all of that was going on between them and the Cleveland Cavaliers and stuff like that, and you're still man fanning. So, you wouldn't see, even though they were cool, Charles Barkley and Jordan, there still was some beefs, and like even right now, they're not as cool as they used to be. So, there were guys that had respect for each other, but they weren't cool. You knew that Larry Bird respected Jordan, because you've heard him from his words say things like, he's the one. You've heard Magic Johnson be like, yeah, so there's respect to that level. When they share the court in like the Dream Team and stuff, there's respects to that level. When you hear Akeem Olajuwon say the things that they're saying it from a level of respect, but at the same time, I still want to beat your beep. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
I don't necessarily want to play with you. I want to beat your tail. And that is something that existed for a while. But a lot of these guys now, they're real cool, and they don't mind, taking an elbow from somebody, and I'm not going to do that. But Kobe wasn't that guy. Kobe wasn't that guy. Kobe wasn't cool with you if you wasn't a part of his team, and maybe if you was a part of his team, he wasn't that guy.
Well, you look at that even with the infamous Pau Gasol incident in that 2008 gold medal game against Spain.
Yeah.
Kobe and Pau were teammates. Kobe didn't care for 1 second, ran right through his chest and told everyone he was going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of how the game was. And again, being that I played with him, Dirk Nowitzki, being that I played with Dirk, there were times in Dirk's earlier years when Dirk was just coming to the Mavericks. He was still young. He was still trying to find his way. And there were times where I'd get switched on Dirk, and they would try to post me up, and I'm like, no, Dirk, you're not getting down here, my boy. You're going out to the 3-point line. I think there's even one time I went baseline and dunked on him, and I didn't dunk much, but I went and banged on him one time, and I told him about it. But Dirk changed after 2006. And that year when they were the number 1 seed, I can't remember if it was 2008 or when it was, where Golden State, the 8 seed, beat them.
It was that next year in 2007.
Because it was 2007. They bullied, Steven Jackson and that crew, that was their game plan. We're going to get in his face. We're going to call him all types of B's, and every time he's in, we're going to bump him with a shoulder and let him know, you know what I'm saying? He changed after that because they tried to do that in Miami. And throughout that whole series, every team, they thought they saw a recipe on how to beat Dirk. And so you see guys evolve from it. You see guys get better from it. But then there are some other guys that's no. Now, I've always told you, the Jordan Poole situation, if that would have happened to me, we on site. We wouldn't be able to play together. Every time I saw you, I'm at you, my boy. That's just kind of how I would feel about it. So we would have had to have split. We couldn't have made it a season because every time I saw you, we on site.
Fair enough. That's Erick Strickland. I'm Austin Norman here in Lincoln. We'll step aside. When we get back, we'll talk some Nebraska football transfer portal. Rumors are flying, of course, but what kind of players does Nebraska need to target from what level? How many players does Nebraska need to get out of the transfer portal? What are the biggest needs? What's a need versus a want for the Huskers in the portal? We'll talk about that and plenty more during Hour 2 of On the Block.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is hiring and seeking motivated applicants. Gray offers a second-to-none benefit package that includes health, dental, vision, 401k, paid vacation, and paid holidays. They offer great pay and tuition reimbursement or a tool purchase program for qualified candidates. It's a fun, friendly team with lots of variety and work assignments, so there's something for everybody. View and apply for their job openings today at grayusa.com or visit them in person just off I-80 and North 56th Street. Come be a part of the Gray difference.
Southeast Community College invites you to check out our spaces ahead of your official campus visit. Our virtual campus tours let you see our campuses and learn more about our programs of study. Then you can schedule your individual visit in person or virtually. Virtual tours of our campuses in Beatrice, Lincoln, or Milford, and our learning centers are online at southeast.edu/visit SCC. SCC, your path to possible.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Don't miss the most innovative ag technology that exists today on display in Lincoln at the Nebraska Ag Expo, the second largest indoor ag show in the U.S. December 5th, 6th, and 7th. Check out all the latest technology in row crop and livestock production, robotics, and more at the expanded Innovation Hub. Mark your calendar. That's December 5th, 6th, and 7th. Register online at nebraskaagexpo.com to get your tickets in advance and save $5. See you in Lincoln. The Nebraska Ag Expo is sponsored in part by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer. Usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619. Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, expecting lots of sunshine. It'll be a warm day as well. We'll see a high of around 63. Tonight, increasing cloud cover taking place with a low near 38. And tomorrow, partly sunny skies becoming mainly cloudy skies in the afternoon. We'll see a high of around 55. I'm meteorologist Kyle Tucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for 3! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
We're back, hour 2 on a Thirsty Thursday. Stricky, I hate to bring up that it's Thirsty Thursday since you're out of the building, but I'm going to partake and I'm going to enjoy it.
As you should, my friend.
I will see if I can save you some for when you get back, but if I'm not able to, just know Kevin did too well and it's already gone. Fair?
Fair. It's all good, man. I know you guys are going to have a wonderful time. It's one of the things that I absolutely hate. I'm missing Thirsty Thursday, but that's okay. But there's some good things that are happening there, not only with Kevin Meyer, but also the Mill, and I know you'll get into that soon.
Yeah, that's coming up here in about 20 minutes or so, our friends from the Mill and Empyrean Brewing. What I know I won't be able to do is eat Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul out of business before you get back home. It is open today through the weekend. It's open Wednesday through Sunday. They fill you up. They stuff you. They do not leave you, scrounging for more. They don't skimp. Their portion sizes are huge. It's delicious. As much as I might want to, I ain't eating all the way through it. So there should be plenty of that left for Strick when he gets back in town, and for you down at 27th and Pine Lake. I did just post a poll on Twitter. I want some early feedback, and maybe we can get into this tomorrow as well. How many players do you think Nebraska football needs to bring in out of the transfer portal this offseason? Is it the 0 to 4 range? Is it the 5 to 9 range, or 10 plus? Give me a follow and tweet, vote in that Twitter poll. Again, at Austin_Orman on Twitter. And hey, while you're on Twitter, that's where you can watch the show. Sartor Heyman gives us our stream platforms. They sponsor him, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch, as well as Twitter. But Strick, let's get into Nebraska football and the transfer portal. Rumors are flying that Nebraska is close to landing a commitment from Kyle McCord. Maybe some veracity to that. I still think McCord takes his time with the decision. But as I look at the transfers that Nebraska football has brought in under Matt Rule, again, it's one class, so maybe not
break it down.
Yeah, not a whole lot of conclusions to be drawn, but it's been a lot of high major guys. You get Ben Scott from Arizona State. You get Joshua Fleeks from Baylor. You get Hood and Sherman out of Georgia. Sims from Georgia Tech. You get your long snapper Marco Ortiz from Florida, as well as safety Corey Collier and linebacker Chief Borders from Florida. Barrett Liebentritt, the transfer from Notre Dame. Elijah Judy from Texas A&M. Tyler Knack out of Utah. And Billy Kemp out of Virginia. The only
Ben Scott too, right? Did you say Ben Scott?
Yeah, led with him from Arizona State.
Okay.
All Power 5 guys. The only non-Power 5 transfer of real note is Caden Becker, who transferred in from Wyoming. He comes back home to Nebraska to play. And I think that's fine, right? I think the Power 5 is where a lot of places would start to look, whether it's starters whose coach have left or backups who are looking for kind of a fresh start that know they can play the Power 5 opportunity, never really got that chance at their previous school. But I'm kind of surprised, Strick, that we haven't heard more group of 5 names being thrown out for Nebraska, because to me, the group of 5 guys that are looking for that step up in competition that can take another step in their development seem like they would fit the ethos of what the staff wants to do in terms of finding under the radar talent and developing it, more so than taking a chance, the second chance, to a guy who was maybe more highly rated out of high school.
Yeah, I think that's the blueprint, Austin. I really do, man. There's so many good players at like a North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Toledo, some of these schools like that, App State, places like that give people problems. When if you want to schedule them on your team, they give you problems. I think there's some skilled players at like the HBCU levels that could make a jump. Skilled players. I'm not, usually the linemen are kind of iffy there, but the skilled players, the receivers, the slot guys, maybe a running back or so, you can pluck something. I think that's the mode to go to, because like you just said, you ran off a whole list of names. And then if you track back outside of like Trey Palmer, you had another one before them, Samari Torre, who came from Montana. Guys like that, you can find them. I just don't see the success outside of, I think Ben Scott was a great one. I think that was a good one to find. I'm glad that he's coming back, especially to solidify that line from the center position is always tough. I think you want to look at guys like this, like we talked about this, I think a couple of days ago, Rizak, right?
Sure.
I think you want to look at guys like that who are athletes. And here's why. Because one of them just won the was it the
Nagurski, Xavier Watts won the Bronco Nagurski.
Yes. He went into Notre Dame as a receiver, but he was an athlete. He wasn't necessarily, actually, there was discussions and outside discussions that receiver may not be the look for him. And so go get some of those type of guys who are versatile and they can do different things where you can turn, like Butler and guys like that, where you can turn them into a great, because they got tools, they got great feet, they got great hands, they got great awareness, they got all of these intangible things that don't necessarily show on a stat sheet as far as them or running routes or getting a bunch of yards, but they got just these intangible things that you can turn it into something else. Where you can turn a guy like Terrell Farley, who has a safety body, into a killer rush guy, where you can turn a Tony Veland, who was a quarterback, into a pro safety. You know what I'm saying? Where I think you want to go find guys like that too. And I think they're out there, and sometimes you miss on them because you're looking at a position, but sometimes you just want to look at get him on campus and let's figure out what's going to be best for him and how he can then use what's best for him to help us on this team.
And Nebraska tried to do that with a couple guys. You look at A.J. Rollins moving out of the tight end room to the defensive line, had a pretty good spring, didn't see the field in a pass rush role this year. Janarin Bonner moving from wide receiver to that fullback role where he didn't necessarily flash, but his first year at a new position, I guess we'll see. I think another realm Nebraska can go for talent, Strick, and Nebraska's had some pretty good success going this route in the past. Some pretty big names have come from the junior college ranks. James Williams from there on this team. Kai Wallen transfers in from a junior college. I think Nebraska, especially with Iowa Western, just an hour and change up the road, that's a relationship that could be mined. But I think regardless of what it is, it's to your point where you find the traits in these athletes. Maybe they were under-recruited. Maybe they didn't get to camps. Maybe just straight up overlooked. They have that chip on their shoulder. They're excited to learn. They're willing to learn whatever position it is to get on the field. But you trust your ability to teach them football and rely on their God-given athletic traits.
It's my understanding that Matt Rule was brought to Nebraska and given an 8-year deal because of not only his resume of being able to turn programs around, but also his developmental trait as a coach, right? If that's who you are, then you should be able to recruit that way as well, knowing full well that you're going to be able to develop them into premium type players. That's the success you had, right? Here's my issue though. My thing with it is, if that's the case, then I think you would have went a little bit earlier with the quarterback type of coach, because you knew quarterback, that position, one, with who you brought in Jeff Sims, was going to probably need that. I think maybe monetarily or maybe by way of contract, you just didn't want to add it on, hoping that maybe your offensive coordinator or somebody could fill that place or that position. But that's an area of development. So here's another area. I'm still kind of iffy at the wide receiver position. Like, one thing that I can say for sure that I saw when Mickey Joseph was here is you can see levels being raised at the wide receiver position. You could tell in that room guys got better. I'm still the debate is still out on that for me. I think getting Satterwhite back into the tight end position, hopefully where he can focus on that and develop that position. I haven't seen growth there as well. So there's areas that I haven't really seen growth. Now, I'm going to be honest. I can honestly say that I think the line got better with all of the problems that they shout out
Donnie Raiola,
to Coach Raiola. Shout out to him, because I actually thought with all the turmoil, it could have been real bad. It was already bad from what we saw. It could have been real bad. I thought they got better. There's other areas, maybe at the running back position. I think the defensive side of things look pretty good. I want to see a little bit more athleticism at the linebacker position, being able to get a little bit more tackles for losses, being able to do a little bit more damage and causing fumbles and just different things like that. But in the secondary, I think I'm okay with the cornerbacks. Definitely want to see better line play, and I think Coach Knighton will get them, because listen, nobody thought Hushmaker would be who he is, and I think Ty Robinson can be a little bit better if he's fully healthy.
I totally agree, and that's why I think it's so big for Nebraska to get both those guys back, add to the depth so they don't get beat up in spring ball.
Right.
Like Ty Robinson has said, he played so many snaps and came in, he felt like he missed a lot of football because he was so banged up from spring that if you're able to get him his work in, get him ready for the season, make sure he's, dominating, but also still able to keep him fresh where he's not playing every rep in practice, keep him fresher for the season. I think that goes a long way. And I want your thoughts on this too, Strick. I think that maybe a guy like Cameron Ward, who transferred from Incarnate Word to Washington State, is back in the transfer portal, is kind of the exception for an FCS quarterback transitioning to FBS easily and successfully. You see an example or two maybe every year. The guy Minnesota got, we'll see how he does. Holy Cross's quarterback, we'll have to see how he does, where he ends up landing. But for me, Strick, as I look at what Nebraska should target, I think they should either go after that experienced group of 5 guy that's had success at that level and is looking for the jump, or at quarterback, I prefer sticking in the Power 5 just because they know what the speed of the game is like. They've run maybe a more complex offense and have worked with maybe some of those more talented and polished skill position guys, but at the skill positions, at wide receiver, at running back, in the defensive backfield, even linebacker, you see a guy like Jabril Cox at North Dakota State go down to LSU and have a really good year. I think Nebraska can dip into those group of 5 and lower ranks, but I want a quarterback to maybe come from a little higher up.
That's going to be the issue, though, right? This is why I've always said you got to go for 2. I think you take a flyer on one at the FCS level, maybe just to kind of get him in, see what his development could be like. Get him acclimated to the speed, get him into spring, get him in early enough to where he can get enough. You can get enough eyes on him to test that out. Now, at the second instance, you're just not going to get a guy like Dylan Gabriel.
No,
I just don't, because they're going to be looking. They're looking for championships. They're looking to go to places where a championship is an option. Again, there's where you're going to either, if you're going to go for those high level guys, you're going to have to be looking at a backup at that level. But a high-level backup, right? Because I think teams like Florida State and guys like that are going to be looking to get some of those guys into their program, knowing what the issue has been with them, right? And to let them fight, basically saying, we're shooting for championships. We think you could be a nice piece to that in addition to that. So teams like that are going to pull that off. But I think different levels, like at the Pac-12, I think you should be trying to poach, like somebody from Cal, if they were solid, or somebody from one of those programs that are kind of going down a level into the Mountain West or whatever the case they're being grouped into, and try to get them like that, or somebody that's at Oklahoma behind Gabriel that is there, but they don't want to necessarily go to the SEC. They kind of want to maybe stay in the Midwest because of family. You want to take advantage of the situation or the circumstance of whatever their issue is and play on that, because I don't think you're going to get a high level guy to come to Nebraska. I think they're just too far away. I think if they would have did something special this year, they could have changed that narrative a little bit. But I think people that are high level elite quarterbacks are going to be looking at, they're too far away from me, especially with an expanded Big Ten.
I'm with you. I believe we're going to welcome in some of our friends from Mill and Empyrean Brewing here in just a few minutes. But Strick, before we get to that, we've talked about guys that might come into Nebraska, but what about the guys that are leaving? Nebraska hasn't been hit especially hard by the transfer portal quite yet. You have John Goodwin, Jake Applegate, Javier Morton, Isaiah Harris, and Tamon Lynam as the guys who are listed in the transfer portal for Nebraska. Lynam got on the field here and there. Applegate was switching back and forth between offense and defense. None of the other guys really saw the field at Nebraska, but that leads me to this question. In previous off seasons, Nebraska's seen a departure that hurts, whether it's a J.D. Spielman, a Wan'Dale Robinson going to Kentucky, even an Ernest Hausman leaving for Michigan. You don't need to say a name if you don't have one in mind. I know I don't, but do you think there's going to be a departure that hurts for Nebraska, or do you think that most of the top end guys that Nebraska would like to have back will return to the team next year?
I mean, you might have something maybe in the running back room. Maybe you may have something because you don't want to lose your depth there.
No.
But you may have something there. You may have something depending on what quarterback is. I think there are people in the wide receiver room that are waiting to see what quarterback's going to come, because I pretty much can, in my mind, promise you that if they think it's still status quo and it's the same, there probably going to be a few that are like, yo, no, no. Because you can see some passes where guys had to like freaking leap as high as they thought they could. If they had a jump, like a springboard or something, they might have been able to get it. But going up, and then you could see frustration on their eyes because they knew they were wide open, and they're going to want guys to hit them. And one, it's dangerous to be getting extended like that, and two, you want to be able to make catches, because if they're not throwing them on a regular basis, and the ones that you do get, you want to at least be able to get them.
On the text line real quick, Brad says it's a 5-win team. How much can a move possibly hurt? Well, there's still good players on this Nebraska team, right? Not enough of them ever at any position, right? You can always have talent on lesser talented teams, but off a 5-win team, you're looking at those guys who are those building blocks that you want to keep around for a few years, that flashed promise, or that you believe in, that you think in your system could be good developmental pieces. If Nebraska doesn't have a departure that hurts, such as it is, I think there's two ways to look at it. The first way is either the roster's not talented enough for other Power 5 schools that haven't come calling and making calls and inquiring, and maybe that's a bad sign. Or the good sign is Nebraska's done a good job in terms of roster retention and making guys believe in that vision, and they're able to keep the band together, to develop as a group, right? Not just as individuals, but as 11-man units in different ways. So there are multiple ways to frame it, and I think we can get into that more as we go. We got to step aside here. I believe, again, we're welcoming in our friends from the Mill to tell us about their new coffee and cream ale, a collaboration with a local brewery. He's Strick. I'm Austin. This is On the Block on 93.7 The Ticket.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. We'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is offering some huge holiday discounts from now until January 2nd. On select new Chevrolet vehicles, we are offering $8,000 off MSRP or 1.9% financing. Yes, you heard right. That's $8,000 off or 1.9% financing on select new Chevrolets. We also have some huge discounts on our new GMC inventory, so stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. Includes finance, trade, and Costco bonus with roof credit. Stock number C2999464.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
What do you think of when you hear the chocolate season? Artisan chocolates? Of course. They have the best chocolates this side of the Atlantic. Friendly neighborhood coffee shop? Yup, they're that too. A nationally recognized top-tier brunch spot. Waffle weekends, baby. And the place to grab a gift for literally any occasion. Everybody loves chocolate. See for yourself at the Chocolate Season, 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead online at thechocolateseason.com. Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
John Henry's would like to remind you, if you haven't already, to unhook your outdoor hoses and check faucets for leaks so your pipes don't freeze. As the official plumber of the Huskers, you know who to call when a plumbing issue arises. From frozen pipes to clogged drains, we can help you protect your home this winter. Give John Henry's a call today to schedule at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote control cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3, get 1 free on smart wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy person in your life. Brown Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back here on the block. Well, at least I'm back. Strick has jumped off for the day. He's got some family stuff to attend to. Really appreciate the Husker Hall of Famer jumping on with me. Again, 2 to 4 weekdays here on the block. He's missing out. Thirsty Thursday is always Strick's favorite day. It's a national holiday every week if you ask him. We had Take It Down Tuesday when Nick and I were here. That's what we dubbed it. But we're back again with our friends from the Mill and Empyrean Brewing here on 93.7 The Ticket, bringing us their most recent collaboration. Chris is back in the building with us. We bring in Tim this time. Again, Tim, we'll start with you. What do we have in front of us here today?
So this is our cold brew cream ale that we did in collaboration with the Mill. Just a really nice, low alcohol, easy drinking beer with really awesome hints of the Mill's cold brew.
I had it on Tuesday again, so I already know what I'm in for. But both of you kind of give your take on the flavor. What did you bring from the brewing end, and then from the coffee end? What were the flavors you're hoping to get into this collaboration?
Well, I just wanted to make like a really neutral beer that would let the coffee kind of shine through. And I think the Mill has some of the best cold brew in town. It's hazelnut, chocolatey, sweet to match the bitterness.
That was kind of exactly what I was thinking. I really liked the idea when we came kind of together to do something a little different than you usually see, whether it be a porter or something heavier. I wanted to have a real easy drinking beer and have it still be a beer. So not super coffee heavy, not something that you're thinking only coffee. I wanted it to be a nice balance. And I think Tim really, really hit the mark with this.
I've had more coffee from the Mill than I've ever had in my life. I'm still learning the coffee element of this. I'm still learning beer as well. Not a big drinker, which is why I appreciate the opportunity to have stuff like this to kind of introduce myself into these two different worlds. It wasn't overly hoppy or bitter like I, expect in some beers. Like that, I stay away from those. It's just a little too bitter for me. But even coffee, I love the smell. Coffee is one of my favorite smells, but sometimes that bitterness, it just gets me. And there is none of that. This is maybe the smoothest beer I've ever had. The nice little foam on top isn't overpowering to get through, but it's definitely present. Remind the name of it and then where it's available as well.
So this is the cold brew cream ale, and it's available at all of the mill locations that have a liquor license.
Yep.
Do we know off the top of our head which ones those are? It's here.
Here, and then we have the Telegraph location, and we refer to it as the Bistro. It is the Innovation Campus location.
Perfect. So Innovation Campus here, Telegraph District, and then, of course, 1040 O Street. Stop by, say, hey, grab yourself the cold brew cream ale. We didn't get a whole bunch of the story, like the day-to-day of what goes into your job. So, Chris, start with you. You said you're the head roaster, at the mill. So you're not just like sitting around like roasting s'mores over an open campfire,
No.
are you? What's the day-to-day for you as the head roaster?
Day to day, basically, I mean, it's changes day to day. We deal with a lot of different size things. So we have each store has their own sort of personality and what they need from me. We have internet sales that are different day to day. So I basically, if I go in the morning, decide what orders are in, what I need to get done. So then that will define how my day goes, whether it be dealing with cold brew or roasting for our flavored side of things, or roasting for our single origins. We just recently become an organic certified roastery.
Nice.
So just kind of the logistics of dealing with what exactly needs to be done day to day and kind of making that happen.
We've been here at 1040 O Street with the mill for 3 months. I think the 31st of August is when we moved in. What's you said the personality of this mill in terms of the roasting? What's popular here? What have people gravitated towards?
This one would be, we lean on this one for specialty drinks rather than a bulk sort of retail side of things. So a lot of espresso comes through here versus downtown or like our College View location, which is heavier on a retail side of things. People coming in to buy bulk coffee.
What goes into roasting for like those specialty drinks? Anything different?
That's basically just every specialty drink essentially will start with what our espresso blend, right? So that's all the thoughtfulness goes into that espresso blend, and then we can break it down with different kinds of milk, different proportions, different flavorings, and come up with fancy to the kind of the most rudimentary coffee lovers drink.
That's awesome. We turn our attention to the alcohol side, the beer side of this then with you, Tim. What's your day like as a head brewer for Empyrean?
So I'm kind of a jack of all trades at the brewery. I can fit in wherever needed, but mostly I'm in charge of quality assurance and yeast management. So a lot of my days are checking beers, making sure they're up to specs, making sure that our yeast strains are healthy as we're repitching them into new batches.
Yeast doesn't have the same smell as coffee. I can't say I like the yeast smell quite as much as I do the coffee smell, but I love that the science behind that goes into brewing. How do you monitor yeast health? I've never heard of that concept before.
So basically we're tracking the generations in which we use it in different beers. We'll get up to 6 uses out of a single strain of yeast. I'm doing cell counts with a microscope, making sure it's healthy and reproducing as it should.
That's awesome. Again, the cold brew cream ale, the partnership here between Empyrean and the mill. Get it here at 1040 O Street. Get it at Innovation Campus. And of course, then also in the Telegraph District. Last time we had these nice little plastic cups that were probably more suited for radio size. I love this. This is going to be with me for a little bit here. A fantastic actual mill cup, an actual drinker's glass of the cold brew cream ale. It is fantastic. Get yourself down to any of those 3 mill locations. Check it out. And if you're at this one down here at 1040 O Street, pop in, say hi to the mill, say hi to us here at 93.7 Take It. Tim and Chris, appreciate the time. We'll throw it to break, cross it over with Old School to wrap up on the block here in just a minute.
Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness specialize in getting rid of people's pain quickly and permanently. For 31 years, they've been extremely successful with advanced techniques in pain relief using spinal adjustments and decompression, detoxification, diet and lifestyle modification, and more. They are fully equipped to handle the most seasonal athlete, weekend warrior, car accidents, strains, sprains, and more. Is there anywhere you're experiencing pain on your body, or are you fighting decreased energy and depression? Consult Belmont Chiropractic and Novotny Nutrition and Wellness first at 402-476-8619.
Don't miss the most innovative ag technology that exists today on display in Lincoln at the Nebraska Ag Expo, the second largest indoor ag show in the U.S., December 5th, 6th, and 7th. Check out all the latest technology in row crop and livestock production, robotics, and more at the expanded Innovation Hub. Mark your calendar. That's December 5th, 6th, and 7th. Register online at NebraskaAgExpo.com to get your tickets in advance and save $5. See you in Lincoln. The Nebraska Ag Expo is sponsored in part by Farm Credit Services of America and Ag Direct.
Can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
Today's agenda includes office meetings this morning, followed by a client lunch, then back to the office for another meeting, and ending the day with a presentation at a client's office. When you are on the go, you need an office phone that goes with you. At Hamilton, our business phone systems make it easy to sync your office phone features to your cell phone for quick and seamless call handling, no matter where you work. If your current office phone can't do this, you need better. Hire your local experts. Hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Whether you're booking a trip to Lincoln for a football game or a volleyball weekend, the Scarlet Hotel at Innovation Campus is the place for you. The Scarlet Hotel is special on many levels, from the delicious Well and Good restaurant on the main floor to the coolest rooftop patio bar in Lincoln, the Barred Owl, on the top floor of the hotel with great views of the city and one of the coolest drink menus. Book your stay or book a staycation today at scarlethotelnebraska.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top-shelf liquor to crowd-favorite beer, Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
What do you think of when you hear the chocolate season? Artisan chocolates? Of course, they have the best chocolates this side of the Atlantic. Friendly neighborhood coffee shop? Yup, they're that too. A nationally recognized top-tier brunch spot. Waffle weekends, baby. And the place to grab a gift for literally any occasion? Everybody loves chocolate. See for yourself at the Chocolate Season, 40th and Old Cheney, or order ahead online at thechocolateseason.com.
John Henry's would like to remind you, if you haven't already, to unhook your outdoor hoses and check faucets for leaks so your pipes don't freeze. As the official plumber of the Huskers, you know who to call when a plumbing issue arises. From frozen pipes to clogged drains, we can help you protect your home this winter. Give John Henry's a call today to schedule at
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Ready to make this season unforgettable? Celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union's low-rate debt consolidation loan. Combine all those bills into one affordable monthly payment with quick access to funds. Imagine all the extra cash for holiday shopping sprees, festive parties, or that well-deserved vacation. Stop by any of their branches or visit libertyfirstcu.com to find out more about their low-rate debt consolidation loan. Make this holiday season one to remember and celebrate with Liberty First Credit Union, banking with purpose.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
No Strick, he popped off, just Austin. Austin Norman with you here on 93.7 The Ticket. Also, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter at Austin_Orman. I did recently post a Twitter poll. It's what I'm going to get into here in the final segment of the show before we turn it over to Old School. Should have Thirsty Thursday with Kevin Meyer, Myers Cork and Bottle coming in. Jay Foreman occupied for the first hour, but he will be on the phone to start hour 2 before making his way here in studio. So stay tuned for that and more coming up on Old School. But again, Austin_Orman on Twitter. For this poll, how many players do you think Nebraska football needs to bring into the program out of the transfer portal this offseason? Your options are 0 to 4 players, 5 to 9 players, and 10 or more players. Nick and I got into this a little bit, but I don't think Nebraska targets or brings in more than 10 transfer portal guys. Number one, because of roster space, right? You're still limited by the amount of available scholarships being 85. Even the total roster in terms of walk-ons, it seems Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield want to depress that number just a little bit from as high as it got, in the semi-recent past. But I do think Nebraska knows it has holes to plug, holes to fill, and they'll use the transfer portal that way. Matt Rule, of course, has said they want either instant impact guys or developmental guys. They don't really want anyone in that in between, but you do have to balance that developmental trajectory with the guys you already have in the room and the guys you would bring in out of the transfer portal versus roster management. You don't want to overload at one position just to throw bodies at the problem. You have a little bit of wiggle room to do that, but really not a whole lot with Nebraska's current standing in current scholarship guys, but also the 26-man recruiting class that Nebraska has coming in. It's that 26-man recruiting class that does have me thinking that Nebraska will go with fewer than 10 guys out of the transfer portal because I think Matt Rule does genuinely like this team, and he wasn't just saying that just to say it. I think Matt Rule trusts the guys he has as his assistant coaches to bring the most out of players, to develop them to their fullest potential. And I think they're guys with some really good, Big Ten level traits across Nebraska's roster. Maybe a little raw in football, inexperienced, haven't played at the Division I level, but it's a worthy gamble in my eyes for Matt Rule to be taking to, for the most part, be banking on internal development. Now, plenty of positions need not just a step up, not just a jump up, but a full-on leap forward. That's fair to say. It's entirely fair to say. In one season, we saw plenty of development on both sides of the ball. The defense, we've talked about it a lot, just how good it was, and we've talked a lot about just how bad the offense was, but there are positive stories on both sides of the ball, despite the disparate results, right? You saw development from the wide receiver position in Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd getting on the field. You saw Emmett Johnson have his fair share of moments. You saw improvement from the offensive line. You saw the first extended flashes of playing time and potential playmaking ability out of Thomas Fidone on offense. On defense, we've talked about Ty Robinson step forward, Nash Hutmacher becoming not just a presence, but a forceful presence on the interior of the defensive line. You saw Cam Lenhart, Principal Uman Mielen make plays as freshmen. Saw the linebackers, I think, really just kind of stand pat, but they were still solid. They were fine. And then you saw the kind of rotating cast at defensive back due to injuries. Nebraska could plug and play without really much fall off at all. So I do think that Nebraska acknowledges it has holes to fill in the transfer portal, notably at quarterback. And that's why I don't think Matt Rule's messages from press conferences and the messages that he and his staff are sending by pursuing guys in the transfer portal are necessarily at odds. I do think Matt Rule and his staff would like to upgrade at quarterback, which is why they're in conversations with Kyle McCord, with Blake Shapen, with Cameron Ward, with Will Howard, Sam Levitt, even as more developmental guy, players of that caliber and that ilk. But I do think that when Matt Rule says he's impressed with Chuba Purdy and he likes what he brought, that he thinks he can win with Heinrich Harburg because of his toughness and running ability, I don't think Matt Rule is just saying that just to say that. I think he genuinely believes that. Now, is he right? Is he wrong? Only time will tell. I think the prevailing opinion, mine as well, is that Nebraska needs to upgrade there. I think Nebraska would be sorely mistaken to stand pat in the quarterback room, given what it has. Even if one of those two guys does end up starting, you got to bring in competition, like legitimate competition, not a third or fourth string caliber guy, but a guy that could at least be the backup, if not challenge for legitimate starting playing time and experience. But given Matt Rule and Marcus Satterfield's pursuit of some of these higher end quarterbacks, it tells me that they are more than happy to work with the guys on their roster, but that it might be a simpler fix, more straightforward to just go get a guy to plug and play. I think really any of the guys that Nebraska is getting would be plug and play, essentially day one starters at Nebraska. Now, Chuba Purdy has options. He'll graduate in December. Does he stick around and try to win the starting job here? Or does he pursue an opportunity to third school where he feels he has a better chance to be the starter, where he might be given more of a chance? I don't know. There's plenty that remains to be seen in that conversation. And that's not to say the guys Nebraska would be pursuing are perfect, flawless quarterbacks. Kyle McCord, I think, is the hot name in Huskerland right now. Through that bad interception in the first quarter against Michigan, did have injuries and maybe a subpar line around him at Ohio State, but didn't necessarily elevate that team the way CJ Stroud, Justin Fields, JT Barrett, Cardale Jones, Terrell Pryor, guys like that before him, Dwayne Haskins, have. Now, not being as good as those guys isn't necessarily a sin at Nebraska. Not being as good as those guys is still probably a step up from what Nebraska's been running out there at the quarterback position. So just because he's not as good as what Ohio State has had doesn't mean he's not better than what Nebraska has had recently. Will Howard, I think, is an interesting guy who's going to have plenty of high-level offers like Kyle McCord, who can throw a little bit on the run, who has the big arm to push that ball downfield, but will maybe try to make one too many plays to some degree. Maybe some of that with Cam Ward, who might have the best arm of those guys, but also has the most fumbles. And we know Nebraska fans and even this program's PTSD with fumbling problems from the quarterback. He had 7 fumbles a couple of years ago and 11 this year. Same number as Heinrich Harburg. Do you chalk that up to trying to do too much? Do you chalk that up to carelessness? Do you chalk that up to bumping up a level from the FCS to the FBS? Of course, Cam Ward came from Incarnate Word. Even a guy like Blake Shapen, he's not huge. Has a good arm, can throw on the run, is mobile enough, not necessarily a running threat. Maybe throws the best ball, the tightest spiral, maybe the most accurate guy. But again, was he able to elevate the talent around him at Baylor? He went 3-9 this year. Did some good things with Baylor in 2021, was solid in 2022, but has dealt with injuries before. Again, bottom kind of fell out of Baylor. They fell back to what we expect Baylor to be, generally in that not quite bowl eligible range under Dave Aranda. So again, there are questions with all of the guys that Nebraska is pursuing at quarterback, but I do think any one of them would step in from day one. Again, on Twitter at Austin_Orman, I posed the question of how many players do you think Nebraska football needs to bring in out of the transfer portal this offseason? I land in that need to bring in probably 4, 5, 6 guys range. And then you have a want list, right? You have a needs list and you have a wants list for Nebraska football. To me, the needs are a quarterback and a QB1. You're not going to bring in just a developmental guy at quarterback, I don't believe. So you need a starting quarterback. I think you need a linebacker. Losing Reimer, losing Nick Henrich, notable losses, and you're not sure what you have. Maybe you feel confident about the guys that didn't play as much this year or would be moving into a new role. At the very least, you need linebacker depth, especially at the middle, and you can always use another guy at that jack position, kind of that hybrid defensive end linebacker spot. I think Nebraska needs both a wide receiver 1 and a running back 1A. Again, a wide receiver 1 and a running back 1A. Going to be tough to get. You're going to be very tough to get. You might have to luck into it, right? Samori Toure, I don't know if he had wide receiver 1 written all over him coming from Montana, but he played right like it. Trey Palmer didn't have wide receiver 1 written all over him coming from LSU. He was supposed to be a return specialist. And yet he blossoms into one of the leading receivers in, Nebraska history in just 1 year. One of the best downfield threats in Nebraska history in really just 1 year. I think Nebraska needs a wide receiver 1 to allow Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd the opportunity to thrive in a role I think they're best suited for next year. Both those guys are talented. They did some really good things for Nebraska. But I think giving them time to grow into their traits, continue to learn the position of wide receiver, would take some pressure off them with a true wide receiver 1. Michael Pittman Jr. type of guy, a Drake London, maybe not that caliber of player, but similar style, bigger body, can run those, X number 1 routes, can be that trusted, reliable guy on a second and long to get you to third and manageable, or on a third and intermediate to long, where the ball's going his direction, but he has sure hands. He's going to fight for the yard, going to run the route to the right depth, all that sort of thing. And then the running back position. That's a room that needs bodies. We know how that position gets churned through due to injuries. And that's some of the deal with Nebraska's room now, right? Rahmir Johnson and Gabe Ervin, both slated to return next year. Those guys don't necessarily do it for me. Gabe Ervin, I think, has a lot of talent, hasn't been able to stay healthy. And Rahmir Johnson, I don't know if running back is his best position, slot receiver is his best position. He's a versatile piece that you like having on your team, but I don't know if he's necessarily a needle mover for an offense. Again, an impressive job in relief and gaining 750 rushing yards in his one crack at being running back 1. But if Rahmir Johnson's your number 1 running back, I don't know how much I love that. Emmett Johnson did some really nice things. Not the biggest guy, 5'11", 190, I think is what he's listed at on the Nebraska roster. I think he's more of a home run threat than a workman-like kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Workhorse back, right? I don't know if that's Emmett Johnson. Maybe it is, but if you tell me Emmett Johnson is the starting running back for Nebraska next year, I give you, okay. And I think he can be good with more development. He might just be a year away from being a true starting running back. If he's your starter and you bring in a guy to be the 1B to him, that's fine. If it's more a rotation, you feed the hot hand sort of thing. I still think there's promise and potential in Emmett Johnson, but I'd like a more sure thing, either to start ahead of him or to be a co-starter alongside of him. The staff loves Quentin Ives at the running back position, so we'll see if he's able to develop any more this offseason. So my Nebraska football transfer portal needs list: starting quarterback, linebacker, wide receiver 1, and running back. So what's my wants list? In a perfect world, if Nebraska has the roster space and has guys that are interested in coming to Nebraska, what does Nebraska maybe want to augment and to amplify the rest of the roster? I think a second quarterback. If you get your day 1 starter, go get a developmental guy to sit behind him. Maybe a guy that spot started at another school, or Chubba Purdy-esque, like what Nebraska did a couple of years ago, getting Casey Thompson and Chubba Purdy both in the fold. I think ideally that's the setup for Nebraska. Is it feasible? I guess we'll see. I think tight end is a want as well. There was some drama on Twitter with Thomas Fedoni updating the Twitter bio, posting his journey on the Notes app. No word on that. Right now, he's back at Nebraska. Not a lot proven behind him. I wasn't as impressed with Nate Borkacher coming into the year as I thought I was going to be. Luke Lindenmeyer was really a blocker only. And I know Nebraska has some freshmen coming in that have worked behind the scenes, and even in the 2024 recruiting class, they can play that position. I just don't think they'll be ready for Big Ten experience right away. So a proven tight end, I think, would be a want for Nebraska. You could always use more offensive linemen. You could always use more edge rushing, right? You never turn that down. The one position I don't think you need is defensive back. And I'll touch more on that and get to some of your thoughts to wrap up on the block after we pause 10 seconds for station identification here on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
We'll wrap up on the Starter Heyman text line, 402-464-5685. Keep your thoughts coming for the end of this show and all the way through old school as well. One-Eyed Ray, I appreciate you catching my perfect use of the word ilk. It is an underused word. Work it into your vocabulary more. It's a fun word to say. It's just kind of lost favor in our modern English language. So yes, ilk, work it into your vocabulary. Tommy on the text line says 5 to 9 players would be about right. Tommy says he could maybe go up to 10 to 12, depending on the recruiting cycle, if Nebraska loses any guys in that process. We've talked with Brian Munson. It seems like, again, barring surprises that you can't plan for, Nebraska's recruiting class is pretty well set in stone with the 26-man class. They did hold commitments from Carlin Jones and Kawan Lacey, who both decommitted. But right now, it seems like Nebraska's recruiting class is going to be 26 players. And again, those guys will likely be scholarship guys. Maybe Nebraska adds a walk-on here or there on signing day. But I think the hay's pretty well in the barn in terms of recruiting. So, yeah, I'm kind of with Tommy there in that 5 to 9 range. I think if Nebraska meets its needs, which for me, again, is a starting quarterback, a linebacker, whether it's a starter or a depth piece, if it's a wide receiver 1 to take some pressure off of Malachi Coleman and Jalen Lloyd, and then a running back, which can either be a transfer or a guy in the 2024 class, but I would tend to prefer a transfer running back. I think if Nebraska gets those 4 positions handled this offseason in the transfer portal, they've done what they need to do. Now, if that's all they take, they better be right about the rest of their roster. They better be right about their developmental process, both on the field and in the weight room. If Nebraska is inactive in the transfer portal and you don't see positions take a jump and guys don't pan out in already a pivotal season, that's going to be a problem. I'm not saying Matt Rule's seat is high. It shouldn't be, right? It's year 2. We can pump the brakes a little bit. But I think there were more wins in this Nebraska team that were left out on the field that better coaching could have made a difference in, that better talent could have made a difference in, both offensively and defensively. So if Nebraska is not going to go heavy in the transfer portal and instead rely on its developmental processes in the weight room, in the playbook, mentally for players, Nebraska's got to be right. You can't afford to miss. This next season for Nebraska, and feel free to clip this, hold me to this. I don't think I'll change my tune on this. It's not national championship or bust. It's not college football playoff or bust, even with the 12-team deal coming up. But this next year for Nebraska has to be tangible progress in wins and losses. It has to be. It can't not be tangible progress in wins and losses. Whether that's 7 in a bowl game, whether it's 8, whether it's 9, whether it's challenging for a New Year's 6 bowl, which we'll see what that even looks like in the new expanded 12-team playoff. Nebraska had its evaluation year this year. Yes, you're constantly evaluating your roster. Yes, you have an idea of guys, but you're willing to change it if they make those changes in their game. But Nebraska for next year should have most of its team set in the next month, couple months. Certainly by spring ball, I think you know who the contributors for Nebraska football are going to be this year. So that takes away an excuse, right? Next year can't be an evaluation year. Oh, get our feet wet as a new coaching staff in the Big Ten. Oh, see what we have on this roster, see what we want to do with them. No, next year's business. Next year's wins and losses. It has to be. Nebraska's got to be done evaluating, and eventually the focus has to turn back to wins and losses. For me, it's this coming 2024 season for Nebraska. Does it start at home with the guys already on campus? Does it start in the transfer portal? Doesn't matter. Just find ways to get wins. I see him outside. Kevin Meyer, Myers Cork and Bottle, is in the building. We'll lead Old School off with Thirsty Thursday. I'll take you through the last half an hour, 45 minutes or so of Old School before we get Jay Foreman on the line as he comes into the studio there for the last hour of the show. Big thanks to Erick Strickland for jumping on from remote. Big thanks to our friends from the Mill and Empyrean Brewing Company. The Cold Brew Coffee and Cream Ale available here at 1040 O Street. Also available on Innovation Campus and in the Telegraph District Mill locations. Make sure you check out the Mill. They're great friends here at 1040. We appreciate sharing a space with them and everything that they do. We also appreciate Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul for sponsoring On the Block. We'll be back with you again tomorrow from 2 to 4 here, only on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com, and our social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Old School next. We lead it off with Thirsty Thursday.
Ironhide Construction is hiring. They're looking for hardworking, self-motivated individuals who are team players. Ironhide Construction has openings for an experienced project manager, estimator, apprentice, skilled laborer, and erector or installer. They will train the right people and make sure you understand the position and requirements. At Ironhide Construction, it's own it, be honest, and do it right. Apply today and learn more about their other benefits at ironhideconstruction.com, where they're committed to you every step of the way.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
A team succeeds when they work together. Banking's no different. At UBT, we're in your corner for every financial move you want to make. Your money's backed by a roster of experts who put in the work to know you and your community. So whether you're opening a savings account, buying a home, or planning your future, you always know who to turn to. Working together toward your financial goals. That's a win in our playbook. Union Bank and Trust. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. We'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And to show our appreciation, Koppel is offering some huge holiday discounts from now until January 2nd. On select new Chevrolet vehicles, we are offering $8,000 off MSRP or 1.9% financing. Yes, you heard right. That's $8,000 off or 1.9% financing on select new Chevrolets. We also have some huge discounts on our new GMC inventory, so stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. Includes finance, trade, and Costco bonus with roof credit. Stock number C299464.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627.
At Fairway Meat Market, your family. And as part of the family, they want to save you money on your meat and groceries. The holidays are here, and Fairway has everything you need for charcuterie boards, shrimp trays, party platters, wine, beer, spirits, and more. Plus, custom fresh cuts on USDA choice or prime grade beef, all natural pork, fresh chicken, and seafood. Your holiday meals start at Fairway Meat Market in the Rockledge Square Shopping Center just south of 84th and Van Dorn.
Husker fans, the Nebraska women's basketball team battles the Indiana Hoosiers on Sunday, January 7th at Pinnacle Bank Arena, and they want to see you there. Help them pack PBA as they retire Jordan Hooper's jersey, host a team reunion for the 2013 and 2014 teams, and give your Huskers a true home court advantage. For tickets, go to huskers.com/tickets or call 1-800-8-BIG-RED. Come early and get your very own replica Jordan Hooper jersey retirement banner while supplies last. Get your tickets today at huskers.com/tickets.
John Henry's would like to remind you, if you haven't already, to unhook your outdoor hoses and check faucets for leaks so your pipes don't freeze. As the official plumber of the Huskers, you know who to call when a plumbing issue arises. From frozen pipes to clogged drains, we can help you protect your home this winter. Give John Henry's a call today to schedule at 435-5555.